A rusted container, lost in a stormy ocean. Inside, a desperate mother dog clings to her pups, ready to face the end. But just as hope fades, the sailor's eyes widen through his binoculars. Is something alive in there? Amid raging waves and lightning strikes, he dives into danger. Will he save them in time, or is this rescue destined for tragedy? What would you do if faced with this moment? Comment below and subscribe now to join the fight for every animal's survival. The sky over the North Atlantic was a tumultuous canvas of dark gray clouds, swirling violently as if the heavens themselves were enraged. Furious winds whipped across the waves, sending towering walls of icy water crashing relentlessly against anything unfortunate enough to be caught in their path. It was late November, off the rugged coast of Maine, where storms could transform calm waters in a treacherous maelstrom within mere moments. Amid this chaos, a solitary container, heavily rusted and battered by time and salt water, bobbed helplessly on the waves, a tiny, insignificant vessel at the mercy of nature's wrath. Inside the container, amidst darkness and stinging cold, Goldie, a female golden retriever, lay curled protectively around her 3 small puppies. Goldie was about 4 years old, slender from malnutrition, yet strong for motherhood. Her usually vibrant golden fur was now soaked, muddy, and matted, clinging uncomfortably to her thin body. Despite her exhaustion, her soft amber eyes gleamed with determination as she shielded her trembling offspring, Stormy, Anchor, and Beacon. Stormy was the largest pup, robust and energetic despite their dire circumstances. Anchor was noticeably smaller, quieter, seemingly delicate, but with eyes full of quiet strength. Beacon, the smallest and weakest, nestled closest to Goldie, relying completely on his mother's warmth. The pups whimpered softly, sensing their mother's distress. Goldie closed her eyes momentarily, drawing upon the remnants of her strength to hold back any hint of despair. Her maternal instincts overshadowed her own fear. She had been abandoned before, left alone to fend for herself after bearing these pups aboard an illegal fishing vessel. The fishermen had callously disposed of her and the puppies, considering them nothing but nuisances, trash to be thrown into the sea and forgotten. But she refused to give in to fate so easily. Her breathing grew ragged, but she tightened her embrace, hoping that at least her puppies would feel secure in what she feared might be their final moments. Several miles away, battling fiercely against the storm, was the cargo ship Neptune Star. Its massive hull rocked violently as waves surged against its sides, salt spray drenching the deck. On board, the crew members hurried to secure cargo, shouting commands barely audible above the roaring wind and crashing seas. Among them was Sam Foster, a 26-year-old sailor whose tall, sturdy frame had been shaped by years of physical labor. Sam had short, windswept brown hair, eyes the color of stormy seas, and a thoughtful face marked with a small scar along his jaw, a permanent reminder of youthful recklessness. Sam was known among the crew for his quiet nature and an unwavering sense of responsibility. But beneath his steady exterior was a hidden guilt, born from an incident in his teenage years when he had carelessly injured a stray dog, an event that haunted him deeply. Ever since, Sam had dedicated himself to aiding animals whenever he encountered one in distress, a silent vow he upheld as fiercely as any sailor's promise to the sea. Standing beside Sam was Captain Rick Harper, a man in his late 50s with a rugged physique, graying hair cropped close, and eyes hardened by decades navigating dangerous waters. Harper was stern yet fair, respected by his crew not only for his navigational expertise, but also his integrity. He scanned the turbulent sea through binoculars, his expression grave. The storm had intensified suddenly, threatening their passage to Cedar Cove, a small coastal town in Maine where their cargo was due. "Captain, look over there," Sam shouted, pointing urgently into the distance. Harper raised his binoculars, squinting through the storm's fury. "I don't see anything but waves, Foster," he replied, frustration evident in his voice. "There, sir, just beyond the starboard bow." Sam insisted, his voice strong despite the wind. The captain refocused, and his face suddenly tightened in surprise. A battered metal container, barely visible, rose and fell dangerously between towering waves. "Looks abandoned," Harper muttered grimly. "Nothing could survive out there." "Please, Captain," Sam urged, the desperation evident in his voice, eyes fierce with resolve. "We have to check. If there's even a chance." Harper hesitated, clearly weighing the risks. Waves crashed violently, reminding him of the danger awaiting any rescue attempt. But the sincerity and urgency in Sam's plea made him pause. "All right," Harper finally conceded, his voice authoritative. "But make it quick and keep it safe, Foster. This storm isn't waiting." Within moments, Sam was dressed in waterproof gear, his heart pounding with adrenaline as the rescue operation began. Lowered into a lifeboat with 3 crew members, they battled furiously against the storm toward the drifting container. Each second felt interminable, waves threatening to capsize their small craft repeatedly. When they finally reached the container, Sam wrestled with the rusted latch, every muscle straining. The door opened slightly, just enough for him to peer inside. The faint whimpers of puppies and Goldie's weary eyes pierced his soul. "Hang on," he shouted over the wind, fighting harder to pry the door fully open. With an exhausting push, the rusted metal creaked wide enough to reveal Goldie, trembling and weak, but defiant in her protective posture around her pups. Sam reached in carefully, speaking softly despite the howling storm. "Easy, girl. We're here to help," he assured, feeling an overwhelming surge of relief and responsibility. Goldie's wary eyes locked onto his, assessing his sincerity. Slowly, her tension eased, sensing genuine kindness. One by one, Sam gently lifted Goldie and her puppies onto the lifeboat, wrapping them in warm blankets provided by his crewmates. Goldie, sensing safety at last, leaned weakly against Sam, gratitude apparent in her gentle gaze. As the lifeboat struggled back to the Neptune Star, Sam held Goldie close, sheltering her and the pups from spray and wind, silently vowing that never again would they face abandonment or cruelty. When they finally reached the safety of the cargo ship, the entire crew gathered around, moved by the sight of the exhausted animals, warmed by Sam's unwavering determination. Captain Harper watched silently, nodding approvingly at Sam's successful rescue, acknowledging the young man's bravery and moral strength. Sam felt a deep sense of redemption, yet he knew their journey was far from over. This rescue was merely the beginning of confronting greater challenges, exposing those who discarded animals as if they were worthless. That night, safely below deck and sheltered from the storm's fury, Goldie rested quietly, her breathing finally calm, surrounded by her sleeping pups. Nearby, Sam sat vigilantly, reflecting on the day's events. His commitment deepened with every gentle breath from Goldie and her pups. No matter what awaited them at Cedar Cove, Sam knew he would not rest until justice was served and Goldie's family was truly safe. The Neptune Star continued its perilous journey through the tempest, a beacon of hope amidst the storm's chaos, guided not only by instruments, but also by compassion and unwavering determination. The storm intensified with relentless fury as the cargo ship Neptune Star fought valiantly against the fierce Atlantic waves. Captain Rick Harper stood resolutely on the bridge, his jaw set firmly, eyes narrowing against the harsh glare of lightning illuminating the darkened sky. His knuckles whitened as he gripped the controls, attempting to steady the vessel. Harper, a seasoned mariner, tall and broad-shouldered with a weathered face that told tales of countless storms survived, knew the immense risks involved. His short-cropped gray hair and stern yet compassionate eyes spoke of years at sea, balancing duty with morality. Tonight, the conflict between those two forces was clear on his strained face. On deck, the crew rushed chaotically to secure equipment, drenched to the bone, yet moving swiftly, driven by adrenaline. Amid the commotion, Sam Foster emerged, cradling Goldie tightly in his arms, her 3 puppies wrapped gently but securely inside a protective tarp. His sturdy frame trembled slightly from exhaustion, his waterproof jacket plastered to his lean yet muscular build. Sam's normally calm face was tense but resolute. He refused to let the turmoil around him shake his commitment. As Sam carefully handed the rescued dogs to a crewmate named Lucas, a lean, wiry young sailor barely 20, quick on his feet and trusted among the crew for his alertness and reliability, the ship lurched violently. Lucas stumbled but quickly steadied himself, a testament to his agility. Lucas nodded reassuringly to Sam, his earnest blue eyes silently promising to guard the animals safely below deck. "Keep them warm and dry," Sam called urgently over the wind's howl, "and let Dr. Carson know we'll need help immediately when we dock." Lucas disappeared below deck, leaving Sam to confront the captain directly. He ascended quickly, each step demanding effort as rain and seawater drenched him mercilessly. Sam entered the bridge, shivering, his face set with determination. Captain Harper cast a quick glance in Sam's direction before returning his focus to steering through the tempest. "We have him aboard, Captain," Sam reported firmly, his voice barely audible over the roaring storm outside. Harper nodded grimly. "Good job, Foster, but we're not clear yet. This storm isn't finished with us." Just then, the radio crackled sharply to life. "Neptune Star, this is Cedar Cove Coast Guard Station. We're tracking you on radar. Conditions at the harbor entrance are deteriorating rapidly. Advise caution and delay approach if necessary. Over." Rick Harper sighed heavily, his eyes narrowing further as he considered their options. "Acknowledged, Coast Guard," he responded tersely. "We'll hold position as safely as we can." Sam moved closer, his expression urgent yet respectful. "Captain, we can't stay out here indefinitely. Those animals won't last long without proper medical attention." Harper looked sideways at Sam, seeing the depth of commitment etched clearly on the younger man's face. "I understand the urgency, Sam, but risking the entire crew and cargo isn't a decision made lightly." Just then, a new figure entered the bridge, Zoe Carson, the ship's contracted medical officer. Zoe was in her early 30s, tall and slender, with shoulder-length, chestnut-colored hair now damp and disheveled. She carried herself with a quiet confidence born from experience in emergency medicine, her gentle brown eyes capable of calming the most frantic sailor. She was a local veterinarian volunteering regularly on rescue missions, her compassion driven by a personal tragedy years earlier, the loss of her beloved dog during a similar storm. "Captain," Zoe began calmly but assertively, "I've seen the dogs. They're severely hypothermic and malnourished. They desperately need shelter and warmth immediately, or we'll lose them." Harper's gaze softened briefly as he considered her words. Zoe was someone he deeply respected. Her judgment had never led him astray. The tension in the bridge intensified as he deliberated silently, the storm outside echoing his internal struggle. Finally, with a resolute nod, he gave his orders. "Very well," Harper announced decisively. "We'll attempt a controlled approach. Alert the crew and brace for potential impact. It won't be easy." The crew, well-trained and resilient, sprang into action at the captain's command. Lucas, now back on deck, gathered the others swiftly, rallying them to battle stations. Zoe hurried back below deck to prepare emergency supplies and heated blankets for immediate treatment upon docking. Sam remained on the bridge beside Harper, monitoring the radar screen, nerves tight with anticipation. The ship surged forward, steadily fighting through towering waves and unrelenting winds toward the beacon lights faintly visible through the storm. Guiding lights of Cedar Cove Harbor. On shore, in Cedar Cove's modest rescue shelter, 2 volunteers, Josh and Kelly, prepared anxiously. Josh, a lanky college student with curly blonde hair and a perpetually optimistic demeanor, methodically organized blankets and heating lamps. Kelly, shorter and with dark pixie-cut hair and a no-nonsense attitude, softened by genuine warmth, assembled medications and nourishment supplies. They had heard the radio transmission and knew the Neptune Star was inbound carrying rescued animals, their dedication and training keeping anxiety at bay. Back aboard, the Neptune Star heaved dramatically under waves that threatened to rip control from Captain Harper. He expertly guided the vessel, each careful adjustment of the controls an intense, calculated risk. The lighthouse grew slowly brighter, a beacon of hope amidst swirling darkness. Sam's pulse raced, his anxiety barely contained beneath an outward calm. Almost there, Harper whispered tensely. As they finally approached the harbor entrance, a monstrous wave reared up, slamming violently into the ship's hull. The impact jarred everyone aboard, throwing Sam momentarily against the railing. Gritting his teeth, he held firm, eyes fixed forward. Harper, demonstrating incredible skill and nerve, stabilized the ship quickly, regaining control before further disaster struck. With a final, agonizing push through the surf, Neptune Star entered the calmer waters of Cedar Cove Harbor. Relief flooded the crew, who erupted in brief cheers before immediately resuming their tasks, understanding the urgency still ahead. At dock's side, Josh and Kelly, bundled tightly against the bitter wind, waited anxiously. As the ship docked, they rushed forward to meet Zoe and Sam emerging from below deck, gently carrying Goldie and her puppies. Zoe nodded gratefully to the volunteers, a deep sense of relief evident on her face as the animals were quickly placed into the warmth of a waiting van. Captain Harper approached Sam, placing a firm hand on his shoulder, his usually stern face now softened with genuine admiration. "You took a big risk today, Sam. Not many would have insisted on saving animals during a storm like this." Sam met Harper's gaze respectfully, a quiet resolve evident in his voice. "It wasn't an option to leave them, Captain. Some things deserve every risk." Harper nodded thoughtfully, understanding clearly the depth of Sam's convictions. "Well done," he said simply, walking away to oversee final docking operations. As Sam watched the rescue van disappear toward the shelter, exhaustion finally overcame adrenaline. He knew there would be battles ahead, battles against cruelty, indifference, and injustice, but tonight at least they had won. The dawn that broke over Cedar Cove was gentle, a soothing contrast to the violent tempest of the previous night. Pale golden rays shimmered over the tranquil harbor, illuminating boats bobbing gently in the calm waters. Cedar Cove was a picturesque coastal town, quaint and charming with clapboard cottages painted in soft blues and grays, clustered comfortably along winding roads lined with evergreen pines. The salty scent of the ocean hung pleasantly in the cool air, a stark departure from last night's chaos. The Neptune Star had safely docked, and Zoe Carson wasted no time in transferring the rescued animals to the Cedar Cove Animal Rescue Center, her pride and joy. Zoe was a woman dedicated completely to her work, meticulous yet warmly compassionate, her professional demeanor softened by genuine kindness. Now out of the storm, her features were clearer. High cheekbones, expressive brown eyes framed by long lashes, and her chestnut hair neatly tied back once more, reflecting her organized nature. Her tall, slender figure moved gracefully but purposefully, radiating competence and calm. Inside the shelter, the warm, comforting atmosphere offered refuge for animals in need. The center was modest yet immaculately maintained, filled with neatly arranged cages, soft bedding, and gently murmuring heating units. Zoe personally placed Goldie and her puppies into a spacious pen near her small office. She laid down a fresh, plush blanket and gently placed the exhausted dog onto it. Goldie, still weak from the ordeal but calmer now, gazed gratefully at Zoe, her amber eyes softened with trust. "You're safe now, girl," Zoe whispered soothingly, stroking the dog's still damp fur. Stormy, Anchor, and Beacon nestled closely to their mother, tiny bodies finally warm and relaxed, quietly whimpering but beginning to recover from their trauma. Throughout the morning, Zoe monitored the dogs carefully, administering necessary treatments for dehydration and malnutrition, patiently recording every improvement. Josh and Kelly assisted Zoe attentively, their youthful energy bringing a hopeful warmth to the shelter. Josh, cheerful and lanky with his bright curls bouncing every time he hurried between tasks, radiated optimism that lifted the mood. Kelly, more reserved but deeply caring, with dark hair framing her earnest face, moved quietly and efficiently, softly speaking words of encouragement to each animal she cared for. As morning transitioned to midday, the front door chimed softly. Sam Foster stepped hesitantly into the center, still visibly weary from the events of the previous night. He wore casual clothes, jeans, and a simple sweater, looking distinctly different without the protective gear he'd worn in the storm. Despite his tired appearance, his steady eyes scanned the shelter eagerly, searching until he spotted Zoe approaching him with a welcoming smile. "Sam, you made it," Zoe greeted warmly. "I wasn't sure you'd have the strength to come in so soon after last night." "I couldn't stay away," Sam admitted quietly, a shy but genuine smile forming. "How are they doing?" Zoe's eyes sparkled with reassurance. "They're improving quickly. Goldie's strength is remarkable, especially considering what she endured." As Sam approached the pen, Goldie immediately perked up, ears lifting slightly, her tail wagging weakly. She recognized him instantly, her amber eyes brightening noticeably. Sam knelt gently, extending a cautious hand toward her. Goldie sniffed his palm briefly before pressing her head into his touch, accepting him completely. For Sam, it was an emotional moment, profound and deeply healing. The guilt he carried, heavy from his teenage years, seemed a little lighter in Goldie's forgiving gaze. "I think she likes you," Zoe observed softly, her voice kind. "I owe her a great deal more than she owes me," Sam replied sincerely, voice thick with emotion. Zoe nodded thoughtfully, understanding that Sam's words spoke to something deeper within him. In the following days, Sam visited frequently, gradually becoming a familiar figure around the center. He quickly formed strong friendships with Josh and Kelly, the pair eagerly welcoming him into their daily routines. Josh's buoyant personality was infectious, easily breaking through Sam's initial shyness. They soon found themselves exchanging playful banter, discussing sailing, sports, and local news, their camaraderie bringing a renewed warmth to Sam's life. Kelly, intuitive and observant, offered quiet companionship, sensing moments when Sam needed thoughtful silence or subtle encouragement. One chilly afternoon, a new visitor entered the center, a local reporter named Melanie Brooks. Melanie was slender, neatly dressed in professional attire, her straight blonde hair perfectly framing her inquisitive face. Ambitious and sharp-minded, Melanie carried herself confidently yet respectfully. She had grown up in Cedar Cove and developed a personal passion for animal rights after witnessing severe neglect cases as a teenager, shaping her persistent dedication to advocacy journalism. Melanie introduced herself warmly, notebook in hand. "Hi, I'm Melanie Brooks with the Cedar Cove Chronicle. I've heard about the incredible rescue and would love to share this inspiring story with our community." Sam hesitated at first, wary of attention, but Zoe gently encouraged him. Recognizing the importance of spreading awareness, he relented. Melanie's questions were thoughtful, allowing Sam to share his experience and feelings authentically. Her genuine interest soon eased his discomfort, helping him express the significance of his connection with Goldie and the puppies. Melanie's article appeared the next morning, prominently featuring Goldie's brave story and Sam's courageous rescue. The response from the town was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. Locals began flooding the shelter with donations and offers of volunteer work, quickly boosting the facility's resources and morale. The shelter, previously modest and quiet, buzzed vibrantly with new energy. Among the new volunteers arriving in response was Mrs. Eleanor Bates, a warm-hearted widow in her late 70s, known affectionately throughout Cedar Cove simply as Ellie. Slightly stooped but cheerful, with soft silver hair pulled into a neat bun, Ellie moved slowly but purposefully, radiating kindness with each interaction. She brought homemade blankets and treats for the animals, quickly becoming adored by both humans and animals alike. Ellie was drawn particularly to Goldie, spending hours by her side, gently petting her fur and speaking softly, bonding deeply with the resilient dog. In the evenings, after volunteers departed, Sam often remained behind, assisting Zoe with final chores. It was during these quiet moments that Zoe and Sam developed a deeper friendship, built on mutual respect and shared purpose. One evening, as they prepared the animals for rest, Zoe gently addressed something that had intrigued her from the beginning. "You seem deeply connected to Goldie," Zoe remarked softly. "It's as if she helps you heal." Sam paused thoughtfully before responding, his voice quiet yet steady. "Years ago, I hurt a dog out of recklessness. It's haunted me ever since. Saving Goldie feels like a way to finally make amends." Zoe placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, her voice kind but firm. "We all carry past regrets, Sam. But what matters is what we do now. And you've done something remarkable." Sam felt a warm relief wash over him. Zoe's understanding words seemed to finally lift the heaviest weight from his heart. From that moment forward, his dedication intensified. Cedar Cove Animal Rescue Center became not just a refuge for animals, but a place where Sam found renewed purpose and hope, supported by Zoe, Josh, Kelly, Ellie, and a growing community inspired by Goldie's incredible journey. The chill of early December crept into Cedar Cove, cloaking the town in morning fog that clung stubbornly to the harbor's edge. Frost lightly glazed the wooden docks, shimmering faintly in the soft glow of sunrise. In the weeks since Goldie's rescue, the community had been buzzing with stories of heroism and hope, thanks largely to Melanie Brooks' compelling article. But beneath this optimistic facade lay deeper truths yet untold. Inside the Cedar Cove Animal Rescue Center, Sam Foster paced restlessly in Zoe Carson's small office, attention clear in his furrowed brows and rigid shoulders. Zoe, seated behind her neatly organized desk, watched him quietly, her expression sympathetic yet determined. Goldie lay calmly at Sam's feet, watching him with intuitive amber eyes, her health vastly improved, her golden coat now shining softly in the room's gentle light. The puppies Stormy, Anchor, and Beacon played gently nearby, oblivious to the anxiety filling the space. Sam halted abruptly, facing Zoe with a troubled expression. "Something about Goldie's rescue isn't sitting right with me," he admitted slowly, his voice tight. "These dogs were deliberately discarded, Zoe. We need to find out who's responsible." Zoe nodded solemnly, her usually composed face now lined with concern. "I've been wondering the same thing." Melanie mentioned she'd received anonymous tips after her article went viral. She thinks there's something darker at play here. Just then, Melanie Brooks arrived hurriedly, her usually immaculate appearance slightly disheveled, a sign of the urgency of her news. Her straight blonde hair was hastily tied back, and her eyes held a sharp intensity that immediately captured their attention. Melanie quickly sat down, spreading out documents and photographs on Zoe's desk. "I've traced Goldie's origins back to a vessel called the Sea Phantom," Melanie explained briskly, gesturing to a grainy photograph of a dilapidated fishing trawler. "It's officially registered as a fishing boat, but has been flagged multiple times for illegal activities, particularly animal smuggling. The captain is known locally as Travis Coleman, a ruthless man." Zoe paled slightly, recognizing the implications. "Coleman," she murmured. "He was charged years ago but evaded conviction." "Exactly," Melanie confirmed grimly. "He's cautious. Nobody's managed to gather definitive proof." Sam clenched his fists tightly, anger flaring in his stormy eyes. "Then we get that proof," he said decisively. "No more animals suffer because of him." Zoe exchanged a cautious glance with Melanie before addressing Sam carefully. "We'll have to be thorough and careful, Sam. People like Coleman won't hesitate to retaliate." Determined, Sam only nodded, his resolve strengthening further. The following days were consumed by meticulous investigations. Zoe and Sam combed through detailed records provided by Melanie, piecing together a disturbing pattern of animal disappearances and suspicious voyages linked directly to Coleman Sea Phantom. It became apparent Coleman was part of an extensive illegal animal trafficking network, exploiting the lax regulations of international waters to evade detection. In the evenings, Sam, Zoe, and Melanie often regrouped at Ellie Bates's cozy cottage on the outskirts of town. Ellie, whose warmth and kindness made her beloved by all, listened attentively as they discussed their findings over cups of steaming tea. Ellie, small and gentle with her neatly pinned silver hair and soft blue eyes, provided unwavering emotional support and quiet wisdom that anchored the group. Meanwhile, Josh and Kelly managed the daily tasks at the shelter, sensing the gravity of their mentor's work without fully knowing the dangers involved. Josh's sunny demeanor dimmed slightly with concern, his laughter more subdued, while Kelly became quietly vigilant, understanding instinctively that the calm atmosphere masked deeper tension. One cold afternoon, as gray skies threatened snow, Sam decided to visit Cedar Cove's marina to gather first-hand information. It was there he met Martin Hughes, a retired fisherman now managing a small bait and tackle shop. Martin, a sturdy man in his late 60s with broad shoulders and a grizzled beard, was taciturn yet fair, known widely for his integrity. His face was weathered by decades at sea, eyes sharp and observant. After a cautious introduction, Sam confided his suspicions to Martin. The older man listened thoughtfully before finally speaking. "Coleman's trouble always has been," Martin acknowledged grimly. "But he's dangerous, son. You need to be careful." "I can't let fear stop me," Sam responded firmly, meeting Martin's steady gaze. Moved by the young man's sincerity and courage, Martin agreed reluctantly to help, promising to discreetly gather information from trustworthy sources among local fishermen. A few days later, Martin discreetly handed Sam a crucial lead: a ledger discarded carelessly by one of Coleman's crew members, listing transactions clearly implicating the Sea Phantom in illegal animal trafficking. Sam shared this pivotal evidence immediately with Zoe and Melanie, who realized the ledger could finally lead to concrete legal action. As preparations for legal confrontation intensified, Sam's stress became increasingly evident. Zoe, sensing his turmoil, gently broached the subject one quiet evening at the shelter, amidst softly sleeping animals. "Sam, confronting Coleman won't change your past," she reminded him gently, her voice calm but firm. "Your courage and actions already prove you've changed." He sighed deeply, pausing before finally speaking, his voice thick with emotion. "Maybe, but I owe it to Goldie and every other animal harmed by men like Coleman to see this through." Zoe smiled softly, respect evident in her eyes. "Then we'll face it together." Encouraged by Zoe's unwavering support, Sam felt renewed strength. With Melanie's help, they carefully assembled all evidence, readying themselves for the challenging legal battle ahead. The night before they intended to confront the authorities officially, Sam visited Goldie at the shelter. She welcomed him quietly, pressing her head into his hand with affectionate trust. Sitting beside her, Sam felt immense gratitude, sensing that the bond with Goldie had brought him more than redemption. It had given him purpose. "We're going to make things right," he whispered, determination resolute in his voice. Goldie looked at him calmly, as if understanding fully the gravity of his promise. When dawn finally arrived, Zoe, Sam, and Melanie stood together outside the Cedar Cove police station. Captain Harper, who had quietly monitored developments since the rescue, joined them in silent solidarity. Harper's authoritative presence bolstered Sam's confidence, offering reassurance through unspoken camaraderie. As they entered the station, Sam felt an unexpected peace. Confronting his past had required immense bravery, yet he now felt certain of his path. The clerk at the reception, Officer Brenda Williams, a sturdy, pragmatic woman in her early 40s with sharp, intelligent eyes and a reassuring demeanor, welcomed them professionally, ready to help set the wheels of justice in motion. Taking a deep breath, Sam handed Officer Williams the collected evidence, explaining their discoveries carefully. Brenda examined the materials with a serious expression before nodding decisively. "This will start an official investigation immediately," she confirmed firmly. "Thank you for your courage." Stepping back outside, Sam felt relief wash over him. He had confronted his past and taken tangible steps toward justice. Standing beside Zoe and Melanie, he watched snow begin to gently fall over Cedar Cove, blanketing the town softly. In that quiet moment, he knew this battle was far from over, yet he felt a profound sense of hope strengthened by community, friendship, and unwavering compassion. Winter deepened over Cedar Cove, wrapping the town in bitter winds and icy rain that tapped insistently on windows. Christmas lights strung along the streets glowed softly, painting cheerful patterns across sidewalks slick with frozen drizzle. Yet, the festive atmosphere failed to reach the hearts of Sam, Zoe, and their dedicated circle. For them, anxiety loomed heavier with each passing day as evidence against Travis Coleman mounted and danger crept silently closer. Late one evening, as Zoe Carson carefully reviewed shelter records in her office at the Cedar Cove Animal Rescue Center, Josh sat nearby, sorting through new donations, his usual vibrant demeanor subdued by exhaustion. Zoe glanced at him with a sympathetic smile, noting how the normally buoyant young man now appeared strained, the shadows beneath his bright eyes growing darker. Josh had become deeply involved, committed to protecting the animals, driven by youthful idealism tempered by recent experiences. Just as Zoe began organizing medical supplies, a sharp knock rattled the shelter's front door. She exchanged an uneasy glance with Josh before cautiously approaching the entrance. Opening the door, she faced a tall, intimidating man wearing a heavy coat, his face partially obscured beneath a thick wool cap. He stepped forward aggressively, forcing Zoe backward. Behind him stood another stranger, shorter, bulkier, with eyes cold as winter frost. "You need to stop your little investigation," the tall intruder growled, his voice harsh and threatening. "Forget about Coleman and the Sea Phantom, or else your pretty shelter won't be standing much longer." Fear surged through Zoe, but she lifted her chin defiantly. "We won't be intimidated," she responded steadily, voice barely shaking. "Leave now, or we'll call the police." The intruder sneered menacingly, stepping even closer. "This is your only warning. Next time, we won't just talk." With a final cold glare, the men departed swiftly, leaving Zoe trembling. Josh quickly rushed to her side, concern etched deeply across his youthful features. "Zoe, are you okay?" he asked urgently, steadying her. "Yes," she whispered, heart pounding. "But we have to warn Sam immediately." Sam Foster was at Ellie Bates's cozy cottage when Zoe called, his heart clenching in fear as he listened. The threat was serious, clearly intended to intimidate them into abandoning their quest for justice. Ellie watched him quietly, her gentle face marked with worry. The elderly woman reached out a calming hand to Sam, offering quiet strength in the stormy moment. He thanked her softly, promising to remain careful as he quickly left the cottage to join Zoe at the shelter. When Sam arrived, Officer Brenda Williams was already there, scribbling notes in her neat handwriting, professional determination evident in her composed stance. Brenda's clear, commanding voice helped ease some tension, yet the danger was unmistakably real. After gathering details, Brenda assured them firmly that protection measures would be immediately increased. Despite the reassurance, Zoe, Josh, and Sam felt shaken. Late into the night, sitting together in Zoe's small office, they faced the heavy silence. Sam's eyes were haunted, conflict raging visibly within him. Zoe reached out, her voice gentle but firm. "Sam, I understand if you want to step back. It's becoming too dangerous." Sam shook his head resolutely. "I can't give up now. Not after seeing what they've done. Not after knowing how Goldie suffered." Goldie, sensing tension, quietly padded into the room, pressing gently against Sam's leg. He looked down, meeting her calm, trusting gaze. Those amber eyes, now healed yet carrying deep emotional scars, reminded him why retreat was impossible. Determined, he straightened, voice steady with conviction. "We finish what we started." In the following days, Captain Rick Harper joined their efforts more directly, offering his ship and crew's assistance in apprehending Coleman. Harper's authoritative presence brought invaluable experience, his strength comforting amidst rising tensions. His crew included sturdy sailors like Lucas, whose agility and bravery had already proven critical in the rescue mission, and Ben Harris, a quiet, muscular deckhand who spoke little but exuded reliable strength. Detailed plans were swiftly made. Harper coordinated closely with Officer Williams, preparing for a risky confrontation at sea, knowing the Sea Phantom would soon set out for another illicit voyage. Police support would come by water and air, ensuring Coleman had no easy escape. On the cold, pre-dawn morning chosen for the operation, Sam stood silently aboard the Neptune Star, wrapped in a heavy waterproof jacket, watching dark waves roll beneath pale moonlight. The biting wind stung his face, each gust reinforcing the gravity of the risk ahead. Zoe, standing quietly beside him, placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, silently promising she'd remain steadfast by his side. The operation began with tense precision. Radio silence maintained secrecy until the Sea Phantom appeared on radar, a shadow drifting ominously offshore. Harper guided Neptune Star skillfully, positioning them strategically for the surprise raid. Lucas and Ben stood at ready, their expressions grim yet focused. Suddenly, spotlights illuminated the Sea Phantom, exposing frantic movements aboard Coleman's vessel. Coleman, a lean, wiry man with dark, hollow eyes and a cruel mouth twisted in anger, barked orders furiously to his panicked crew. A police helicopter hovered overhead, spotlight glaring intensely, loudspeaker booming warnings to halt immediately. Coleman, desperate, steered the Sea Phantom sharply, attempting escape into dangerous shallows. Harper expertly maneuvered the Neptune Star, forcing Coleman's vessel into a narrow passage blocked by patrol boats. The Sea Phantom shuddered violently, trapped and cornered, waves crashing dangerously against its sides. In chaotic desperation, Coleman attempted one final escape, leaping recklessly into a small lifeboat tethered alongside. Sam acted instinctively, leaping after him, landing harshly on the deck below. Pain shot through his side, but adrenaline surged stronger, propelling him forward. The men wrestled fiercely, Sam fueled by righteous fury, finally subduing Coleman moments before officers swarmed aboard. Breathing heavily, Sam watched police escort Coleman away, relief washing over him even as exhaustion threatened collapse. Zoe quickly approached, anxiety etched deeply into her face as she steadied him. "Sam, you're hurt," she whispered urgently. "It's nothing," he replied weakly, managing a reassuring smile. Zoe's gaze softened, pride shining through lingering worry. Together, they watched police secure the Sea Phantom and crew, finally dismantling the ruthless operation responsible for countless animal abuses. Returning to Cedar Cove, triumphant yet weary, Sam received medical attention from Dr. Thomas Everett, the town's trusted physician, whose calm professionalism quickly eased Zoe's lingering fears. Dr. Everett, an older, mild-mannered man with white hair and compassionate blue eyes, treated Sam efficiently, offering quiet praise for his bravery. Late that evening, recovering at the shelter, Sam sat quietly beside Goldie. Her gentle presence soothed him, her quiet companionship offering healing deeper than physical wounds. Zoe joined him silently, gently resting a reassuring hand on his shoulder. They sat in peaceful silence, gratitude filling their hearts. Despite danger, they had secured justice, protecting countless animals from future suffering. Sam finally closed his eyes, exhaustion overcoming him, yet peace filling his soul. Beside him, Goldie sighed softly, sensing safety and finally, lasting peace. Outside, snow fell silently, gently covering Cedar Cove in quiet tranquility, offering a soft, cleansing renewal after weeks of turmoil. The storm that had engulfed Cedar Cove seemed now like a distant memory. Winter's harsh grip loosened gently as spring cautiously approached, bringing warmth that slowly melted away lingering frost. The town, once shaken by danger and conflict, now basked in the calm after the turmoil, basking in a newfound sense of unity forged from trials and triumph. In the weeks following Travis Coleman's arrest, Cedar Cove blossomed not just in nature, but in community spirit. Sam Foster found himself at the heart of this transformation, an unexpected hero praised warmly by neighbors he once barely knew. Yet fame felt secondary to Sam, whose mind was now focused on nurturing life rather than dwelling on past shadows. He had officially joined the Cedar Cove Animal Rescue Center as Zoe Carson's assistant director, a role he accepted with deep humility and purpose. Zoe, steadfast and composed as ever, welcomed him warmly. Her presence, a blend of serene professionalism and quiet compassion, continued to inspire those around her. Zoe's slender frame and graceful movements carried an aura of unwavering resilience. Her chestnut hair once again neatly tied, a symbol of restored order after months of upheaval. Goldie's recovery, meanwhile, had become the symbol of Cedar Cove's healing. Her fur now shone brilliantly, radiant in the golden sunlight filtering through the shelter's windows. Her gentle amber eyes reflected a profound serenity, no longer shadowed by pain. Stormy, Anchor, and Beacon had grown rapidly, each pup embodying their name perfectly. Stormy was energetic and bold, Anchor calm and reassuring, while Beacon remained gentle and intuitive, a quiet observer who seemed wise beyond his tender months. Sam watched over the puppies lovingly each day, taking pride in their blossoming personalities. Goldie, sensing his affection, often lay nearby, her head resting softly against his feet, creating an inseparable bond of trust and gratitude between them. The community, inspired by their journey, rallied around the shelter in unprecedented ways. Donations of food, supplies, and financial aid poured in, driven by the extensive media coverage facilitated skillfully by Melanie Brooks, whose insightful reporting had drawn significant attention to animal welfare issues beyond Cedar Cove's borders. Melanie, with her poised confidence, continued tirelessly advocating for the shelter, her blonde hair impeccable once more, reflecting a renewed sense of purpose in her eyes. One morning, as sunlight danced lightly on the shelter's polished floors, Sam arrived to find a new visitor, a young boy named Ethan Miller, shy and slender, no more than 10 years old. Ethan's dark curls framed a timid face dominated by large, curious brown eyes. Standing hesitantly beside him was his mother, Grace Miller, a petite woman whose pale complexion and delicate features carried visible traces of past hardships. Grace spoke softly, her voice carrying quiet strength tempered by vulnerability, explaining their desire to volunteer. Ethan wanted to help animals ever since he read Goldie's story. Grace explained gently. Her eyes softened with maternal pride as Ethan nodded earnestly. Sam smiled warmly, crouching down to Ethan's level. "Well, we'd love your help, Ethan," he said encouragingly, noting how the boy's shy smile broadened at his words. Sam soon discovered Ethan possessed a remarkable tenderness, patiently caring for the shelter animals with a maturity far beyond his years. The shelter flourished further as community involvement expanded, led by the spirited enthusiasm of Josh and Kelly, who had fully embraced their roles as senior volunteers. Josh's boundless energy remained infectious, inspiring newcomers with lively demonstrations of animal care, while Kelly's thoughtful compassion helped even the most hesitant volunteers feel welcome and valued. Eleanor Bates, fondly known as Ellie, continued offering her invaluable presence, quietly guiding younger volunteers with patience and wisdom. Her gentle laughter became a beloved sound within the shelter, bringing comfort and warmth to both humans and animals alike. Sam and Zoe's partnership strengthened steadily, marked by mutual respect and growing affection. One evening, after the shelter had quieted, they found themselves sitting side by side outside, watching the fading sunset paint the harbor in hues of soft pink and gold. "I never imagined finding peace like this," Sam admitted quietly, voice tinged with wonder and relief. Zoe looked at him gently, her expression kind. "You've earned it, Sam," she replied softly. "You've shown everyone that second chances aren't just possible, they're necessary." He looked at her gratefully, sensing that Zoe, too, had found healing through this shared journey. They sat silently, savoring a quiet companionship that spoke volumes without needing words. As spring fully bloomed over Cedar Cove, Sam helped organize the shelter's first annual Animal Welfare Festival, designed to educate, inspire, and celebrate the bond between humans and animals. Bright banners fluttered along Main Street. Stalls lined the harbor promenade, filled with cheerful residents and visitors from nearby towns. During the festival, Officer Brenda Williams received special recognition from the community for her invaluable role in apprehending Coleman. Brenda stood humbly, visibly touched, yet characteristically composed, her reassuring presence reminding everyone of the quiet strength needed to uphold justice. Captain Rick Harper, too, was honored, his crew present and proud, led by Lucas and Ben Harris, whose bravery during the operation had become legendary. Harper's stern demeanor softened under applause, a rare smile crossing his usually reserved face. At the heart of the festival stood Sam, Zoe, and Goldie, greeting visitors warmly, sharing their story countless times. Goldie patiently accepted gentle pats and affectionate hugs, her presence a living testament to resilience and compassion. Toward the festival's end, Sam spotted Grace and Ethan once more, their smiles brighter now, faces radiating hope. Ethan approached shyly, carrying a carefully wrapped gift. Sam knelt down, accepting the package gratefully. Inside was a small hand-painted portrait of Goldie, her gentle face captured beautifully, eyes shining warmly. Ethan painted it himself. Grace explained softly, pride evident in her voice. Ethan blushed modestly, smiling widely when Sam hugged him warmly. Returning home that night, Sam carefully placed the painting prominently in his modest apartment, reflecting on the journey that had led him here. The painting symbolized redemption, community, and newfound purpose, a testament to what could be achieved when people united around compassion. In the following days, adoption requests flooded the shelter, each carefully reviewed by Zoe and Sam to ensure perfect matches. Stormy soon found a home with Lucas, whose adventurous spirit matched the pup's boundless energy. Anchor went to a retired naval officer named Joseph Barnes, whose steady presence mirrored the puppy's calm demeanor. Beacon found a devoted companion in Ellie Bates, whose quiet wisdom perfectly complemented his gentle temperament. Goldie remained at Sam's side, inseparable, an enduring reminder of resilience and second chances. Together, they continued daily tasks at the shelter, a steadfast team committed to protecting vulnerable creatures, their bond stronger with every passing day. Standing quietly at the shelter's entrance one warm afternoon, Sam reflected deeply. Cedar Cove had transformed, as had he, shaped profoundly by kindness, courage, and the unwavering belief in doing right. The past had been laid peacefully to rest, replaced by meaningful purpose and lasting connections. As sunset painted the sky warmly, Sam watched Zoe carefully instructing new volunteers, her calm voice steady and inspiring. He smiled softly, recognizing in this moment the quiet beauty of their lives. Together, they had faced storms and emerged stronger, forging a legacy rooted in compassion and justice. The dawn after the storm had finally arrived, brighter and more beautiful than he had ever imagined. Life often places us in storms, testing our courage, kindness, and resolve. Like Sam and Goldie, we all face moments where past mistakes and present challenges feel overwhelming. Yet, their journey reminds us that redemption is possible, hope is powerful, and compassion can heal even the deepest wounds. Every day gives us a new chance to help, to forgive, and to find purpose by standing up for those who cannot speak for themselves. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who might need a gentle reminder that brighter days come after every storm. Comment Amen below to affirm your commitment to kindness, courage, and compassion. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. May God bless you and guide you towards strength and peace. Amen.